Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay. You ain't do nothing but run your mouth. No, I don't want to be humble now. You doubted me, nothing to talk about.
Actually bumped it and went louder on that one. The podcast keyboard's only as good as the monkey that's using it.
User errors.
I hope all of our sound is good. I think it is.
I believe so.
Mine's muted. I can hear you. You can hear me.
Yep.
And then hopefully when Danny goes in.
I did see that the Facebook for the Diablo members is not working.
It
says it looks like broadcast was deleted on Facebook. Try creating a new broadcast. Diablo peeps, just watch it on YouTube.
Is there a way to connect it? Oh, no, it's going.
Is it?
Yeah, it's up there.
It's up there, but it's got a little exclamation.
Oh, go live there.
Go live, and it comes right back.
Or just remove the destination. Remove. Delete on Facebook. Remove. And then add. There we go.
Okay.
Add comes to schedule later.
Thank you, Paulina. YouTube is good.
Okay, good.
That is helpful. It's always helpful information.
All right.
We've had enough.
It's on Facebook now. Good. At least we have one person telling us.
Yeah.
So Annie Sakamoto's coming on. Before we got into Annie Sakamoto, we're gonna really quickly talk about my tweet, and then Dave Castro mentioned something. We're gonna try and get Dave on the podcast. I don't know if that's a possibility, but I got to at least have a conversation with him because he addressed it, and it was regarding teams at the games.
Kind of called you out.
Well, call me out. So someone sent him the tweet, and he said it's time. My tweet was it's time to end the CrossFit Games affiliate team competition, and I did tag CrossFit Games, not thinking that it would draw any attention.
It would come back
Look,
around.
I don't have a huge Twitter following. That's where I go on. I rant and I vent, and sometimes I'm, wrong and I'm open to correction anytime. But I said it's time to end the CrossFit Games affiliate team competition. Instead, let's revive the Invitational international team format.
Yeah.
Held after the games, with the teams comprised of the best athletes representing a country or region. Now, Jamie and
not the affiliate cup though, just a team competition.
No, just a team competition by country or region.
Yeah.
Similar to what they've done in the past, where the stands were packed and they were exciting.
Yeah.
Because there was only 4 or 5 teams representing North America, representing international in some cases.
And it was an invitational, so you have a bunch of rock stars on the
team. Oh,
team.
yeah, the best athletes. So people get a chance to see their favorite athletes and see them working together. And there was a lot of drama, a lot of competition. And here's what prompted this. Well, 2 things prompted it. My tweet was 1, the affiliate competition has low attendance. It's hard to understand, hard to follow. In my estimation, my own particular, it's boring, but I've been doing this a long time. So granted, it may be exciting for other people. For me, it's just not exciting to watch anymore. Mm-hmm. But I listened to a podcast that Jason Khalipa and Rich Froning were on with Savan. And one of the things that Jason drew attention to was his jersey on the wall that was from the international. Mm-hmm. And then on the wall behind Rich was the picture of the international team.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, but the different year. And Rich said, I don't even know where my medals are for the games, but that is on my wall and it makes me the most proud. And
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I remember how exciting those were.
We looked forward to it when they came on.
Yes. And they had huge viewership. So that was what prompted that conversation or that tweet that I sent. Like, the affiliate cup has become very diluted because athletes are traveling all around the world. They're not really in many cases, a lot of those athletes aren't really members of the community. They're going there and they're training for the required amount of time.
But then when the season's over, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
And maybe they're not.
Right. Maybe some stay, like down at Invictus. The Invictus team, most of the Invictus teams still train there full time.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
Look, and CJ does a great job of managing it, but other affiliates, it's not so much.
Last year's Mayhem team, after Rich retired, the girls went off and joined the Proven.
Yeah.
So,
they all go their own separate way, and it's because they're competitive athletes.
Yes.
My point being that the notion of affiliate team is lost because the affiliate team in the true sense of the word that it used to be, where it was really athletes participating.
Mm.
And I understand that's a progression of sport. Everybody's gotten better. The competition level is heightened, so everybody wants to bring in the best athletes. You got a weakness on your team, you bring someone from the outside.
Yeah,
that happens, but it's diluted the value of the affiliate cup. So that was the purpose of my tweet. And I think CrossFit, for the most part, needs, if they're going to focus on what makes CrossFit Games the best, which is the fittest athletes in the world competing to be the fittest athlete, they're chosen as the fittest athlete in the world, then they need to focus on that. That will draw the biggest spectators. CrossFit Games has become a spectator sport. It has evolved, which is cool, because it becomes now an entity that CrossFit has that is valuable for the investors, but it also is a place that gets eyeballs on CrossFit, and then they can leverage that, as Don even said this, to draw people into the affiliates. So that CrossFit Games has become a spectator sport. Anything else that's there around it while the CrossFit Games are happening is in my estimation, is a distraction. And that includes masters, that includes the teams, that includes the adaptive athletes, and it includes the teams with an M. And that's not, I'm not insulting those things, because there are amazing stories in all of those things, all of them. I've experienced and talked to many of the athletes and their family members and saw some of those things. It was amazing, but it doesn't draw eyeballs. And if all you have to do is go to YouTube, pull up day 3 of the CrossFit Games, look at the team viewership versus the
age groups.
No, the teams versus the.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Versus the prime.
The numbers are very different.
Oh my God! Don't even pull up the age groups, because that's biased. Because
especially this last year, you can't even
you can't tell, right? You can't compare because of the screw up of CrossFit's part and how they did the viewership, or the broadcast. But for the teams, they did a full broadcast in day 3, and it's literally 1/10. It's 1/10 of the eyeballs. And I would argue that there's only that 1/10 is a high number, because people were probably looking for the individual athletes and ended up watching the teams.
Yeah.
But that's not a profitable product. So you got all these judges, you got way more judges, you got way more support staff, you got way more equipment. It's more expensive to put the teams on in an individual event than it is to put on the individual athletes. So why have it? So just what I'm saying to CrossFit is, and I think they're going to do this anyway, but focus on the product that is amazing, that we all want to see. And let the rest of let the community or other company perhaps run the other competitions. And license them and maybe collect a fee for it.
It would be great to see the affiliate cup come back into the affiliates. I mean, we talked about this, like, from a community standpoint, building it up more of a local, regional level and taking it from there. But it's hard to excel and grow one thing amazing when you're still being, like you said, being distracted. The logistics on putting together team. Now you're adding more programming, going to watch them. I mean, after the individuals finished their Oli lift on at the games, going back to watch the team, it was kind of disheartening just to see like how empty the stands were. All the vendors were closing up. It was just like, okay, well, this is not doing, because I enjoy the teams. They're fun. It's a fun experience, especially when you are on a team. But when it comes down to going to watch the games and the teams at the games, it's not the same experience as it used to be.
One of the things, there's a great book called Sports Illusion, Sports Reality, written by a sports writer many years ago. And he defined the components that go into making a very good spectator sport. And one of those things is being able to understand what's happening on the field and then have consistency and follow it. That's easier with the individual athletes.
Yes.
You know that we know what the standards are for a chest bar pull-up. We know what the standards are for bar muscle up. We know when they're doing bar muscle ups, what they're doing. We know when they're doing ring muscle ups, we know what they're doing. We know how they're scoring. We know the reps. We can watch because it's only one athlete and versus another athlete versus another athlete. When it's a team, and say it's they're doing a worm squat. You get the team doing the worm squat, and there's a no rep. We have no idea. Was it the top? Was it the bottom? Was it the last athlete? Was it the middle athlete?
Half the time, the athletes don't even know.
Well, that's true too. Right. And so that's just one component of several important components that make a sport viewable and enticing for a spectator.
Yeah.
That's just one. There's several other components, and I'll touch on that. I think more importantly, though, I see Annie joined us. She texted me too. And I think she's getting all set up. Let's why don't you pull her in and then we'll move on. I'm done.
Penny.
How are ya?
Great. How are you?
Good.
Oh,
Jamie, it's so good to see you. I've seen Craig in passing here and there, but I haven't seen you in years.
I know. It's just so great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on too. That's awesome.
Yeah,
he's still working out.
I know. I follow him on Instagram. I see.
You see me lift a barbell at the games here and there.
So I won't see him lift heavy for weeks at a time. He'll take breaks from lifting heavy, and then he goes to the games. And we're out in the RV park, and he gets roped into heavy clean and jerks at the games in the RV parking lot, the dirt lot, early in the morning.
It was like 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I texted him. I go, hey, Graciano and Hiller are here. They're lifting, and you were doing some heavy lifting. CrossFit wants to film it. And he comes out, boom, and then just crushing. And did you get to 300? You got over 300.
I got 305 on it.
Yeah.
Jamie. Craig, I have a surprise for you. Look, I got another face here for you.
Hey, dude, what's up?
How you guys doing, man?
Yeah.
Good.
I instantly get a little bit nervous when I see you because I think I'm going to be judged for what I'm saying or how I'm saying it, repeating words that I shouldn't be repeating.
He said he did your L1.
My level 2.
Yeah, you were my level 2 coach too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right on. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you, man.
Yeah.
That was a life-changing moment and extremely beneficial. I should tell you this, extremely beneficial for Diablo CrossFit. Like I came back from that passionate about all of our coaches being level 2, and they all are level 2s.
Good to hear, man.
Yeah.
That's my favorite seminar too.
Oh, it's so good.
It's such a great.
It's the passion of what we do, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You're good at making people cry. Well done.
So is Annie. I took a class and I'm trying still.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We'll figure it out. Thank you.
That's so good. It is true though that I came back from that. I put off my level 2 forever, Annie.
Yep.
And I was like, I need to go do this because I can't do the level 1 for the third time or fourth time.
Totally.
And I did it, and I walked away. I'm like, oh my God.
Yep.
Why did it take so long?
Yes.
I was the same, Craig. I was like, all I need is the L1. I've done this for years, blah, blah, blah. And then I did the L2, and I was like, no, everybody should do the L2.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody should do the L1. They should coach for a little while, I think.
I like that.
And then go to the L2 and be like, oh, that's what I'm not doing. That's what I'm missing. That's what I need to work on.
Don Fall has said recently that, he wants to improve the quality of experience for any member going into a CrossFit gym. And he asked the audience out at the games, hey, of affiliate owners, who would feel comfortable sending their mom randomly into any CrossFit gym? And no one raised their hand. And there was like 150 people in the room. And he says, we're going to address it. And I'm trying to think in my head, how are they going to fix that? Like, how do you do that without going out to every single affiliate, telling them what to do, how to do? And he goes, we're going to start with education. Yep. We're going to push education and then reward the affiliates and give recognition to those affiliates that are doing the level 2 and level 3. And I thought, well, shit, that will work. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
That'll work. You make them level 2s. People go to level 2s. You get these coaches that are level 1s. You go get a level 2. They'll be like, oh.
I feel like level 2 is a good one to kind of repeat too. Because then you're getting another audit on yourself on how you're coaching stuff.
Yep.
Are you a Flowmaster still?
Me?
Yes.
I never was. I got off the seminar staff when my daughter was pretty young. It was just too hard with 2 kids and owning a business,
traveling and whatnot.
Yeah, the travel, exactly. I just it's too much for me. Curtis Bowler just called and asked if I wanted to hop back on seminar staff, and there's definitely one side of me that's like, I miss it. I miss those weekends and connecting with people like that, and getting those emails that are like, you just changed my life. Yeah. But I can't give up my kids or the day-to-day of my gym to do it. So
you just a quick piece of trivia too. So Zach interestingly came on and he did my level 2.
Mine too.
Yeah. And Annie was one of the coaches at my level 1 in 2006.
Oh, really?
Yes. You and Nicole Carroll. And Greg Glassman was one of the instructors. He was starting to give up some of it, but he did part of the lectures.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was your first L1?
That was my first L1 in 2006. Yeah.
And where were we? At the gym here?
Yes, at the gym.
Yep.
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 It was amazing. Still very, again, life-changing, like you said.
Totally.
You're an owner, you're an athlete, and that was the one. We'll just jump. I got like about 6 or 7 things that we were going to talk about up on the board, but we can jump around. I want to jump around. But I'll stay with the busyness. You
just finished a class, huh?
Yeah, and you're coaching. That was the other thing. And you're coaching. She couldn't. Annie said, "Well, I might not be able to be. I might be late for this podcast because I'm coaching class." I'm like, "Holy crap!" And you're a commentator.
Yeah. I coach at least 7 to 8 classes a week, and then I coach probably another 15 plus in personal training.
Really?
Yeah, I coach a lot. I coach at least 4 hours every day, if not like 5 to 7.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And are you the sole owner of CrossFit West Santa Cruz? Or
I am not. That's one thing that I have vowed to myself is I will never own this business by myself. I mean, you know, Craig, it takes so much to own and run an affiliate. And I don't want to do it by myself. So when we started CrossFit Santa Cruz Central in 2000, we affiliated in 2007. We opened doors in 2008. There was 5 of us. And then for numerous reasons, different people dropped off. There was just myself and Jimmy Baker left. We brought on 2 others. One of them left. It was myself, Jimmy, and Helene for years. Last year, while I was at the games, Helene passed away. Oh, no, sorry. Jimmy passed away before that in 2020.
Wow.
2021, sorry. And then Helene passed in 2022. No, Jimmy was 2020. Helene was 2022. Right before Helene passed, we brought on another partner, and she is currently my partner. So it's myself and Kelly Greco, which is great. We get along great.
Let me ask you just a technical question, because we do get affiliates that will watch this, and I'm kind of like to lean into the affiliates on these podcasts. To me, that's overwhelming, the exchange and flow of owners of the affiliate. Do you put together legal documents? Is it part of an LLC? Is there money that's transferred back and forth? Is it a buyout, exchange? How do you do all that?
So we started it as an LLC with 5 of us.
Okay.
And we all put, a certain amount in. And that was Jimmy Baker, who, if you've heard Greg Glassman talk about the first gym, it was thanks to Jimmy Baker that gym opened. It was his credit card that opened that gym.
Wow.
Michelle Moots, who's still on seminar staff.
Yep.
Eva T, who is like the original CrossFit girl.
Yep.
And then Rob Miller, who was the climber. Remember, shock blonde hair?
Yeah. No, Rob messages me from time to time.
He does.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, and then myself. So there was 5 of us. Michelle moved away. Eva was she was done with being a CrossFit owner.
Yeah.
And then Rob Miller just all of a sudden out of the blue one day walked up and said, "I want my buy-in. I'm out." I'm not even to this day, Craig, I don't know what happened there. So he left. So that's when it was just down to Jimmy and I. And Jimmy and I are the same when it comes to running a business. We were the same. Like, we would just give everything away. We needed somebody that was like, "No, you can't pay your bills if you give away everything."
Yeah.
And that's when we brought on Helene. She was incredible. She was like the VP of a tech company here in Santa Cruz for a while. So she loved spreadsheets and, P&Ls and balance sheets and all that stuff. So she was perfect for us. And then unfortunately, both of them passed of cancer in 2020 and 2022. And so that's when we brought on Kelly. But yeah, there's always been a buy-in, buyout. We're all a part of an LLC that has changed kind of how the percentage of partnership looks over the years.
But it sounds like it's worked.
It has. We've been really lucky. It's worked.
Yeah. And I think that's the key ingredient, is that you put the documents together ahead of time, which I did with my partner originally, Jeremy Jones. The buyout was emotionally difficult because I bought him out, and it was emotionally difficult, but we got through it. And then afterwards remained friends. With my my wife is essentially my partner, and thank God, because I'm the give it away for free guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after Jeremy, it was just you since then.
Yes, it's
And when did you affiliate?
in 2006 is when we affiliated.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys became sole owners 2016, 17?
Yeah, 2016 is when I bought him out.
Yeah.
And it was just a difference of opinion. We weren't working together well.
Mm-hmm.
I remember someone in business telling me this guy that was when I was in the investment business, and I was telling him about my gym and how long I was partners. He goes, "What? You've been partners? You guys been partners almost 10 years?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I couldn't stand my partner after 5 years. I couldn't even listen to his voice."
It's hard.
I get that.
Yeah.
It is, because it's like,
I mean,
yeah.
I had an affiliate at one point, and there's a reason why it's not there anymore.
It is.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like it's so hard to do it alone because there's so many things that have to get done.
Yes.
But depending on who your partners are, it's almost harder to do it with somebody, because if you guys don't agree on things, then nothing's getting done, right?
Chefs in the kitchen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's well said. I look at Rhapsody, and he's got 3 locations. He's in South Carolina, Alan Shaw, and his partner, life partner, and is also his business partner. But he said they're complementary. He's the creative guy, and his partner is the like analytical detail guy, and that works. And that's my wife and I.
Yeah.
I'm the walk around. I'm managed by walking around. She says I'm the
show face.
I'm the social media guy.
Yep. But it really does take all those sides.
That's right.
To run a successful affiliate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you guys ever want to open multiple ones?
Never. Never.
Good move. Yeah.
I mean, you look at somebody like Kaliper, like you're saying with Rhapsody, and that have multiple affiliates. And you're just like, wow, that's so impressive. But for me, I'm like you, where I want to know every single client's name. Yes. I want to be able to interact with every single client. And I couldn't do that with multiple affiliates and with kids and a husband. And, it's just too much. I'd rather do one really, really well than have multiple.
It's more fulfilling having one, because like you said, you have more connection versus trying to spread it out too thin.
Yep.
And we learned that the hard way.
Yeah,
we exactly what you said. We learned it the hard way, and then
because you had 2 for a while, right?
Yeah, we had 4 at one point.
4.
We have 4 locations at one point. They were small. They were subleasing, inside another gym, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Each time the lease expired, we just said, nah, not going to renew. And now we're 1 and we're running better than ever. It's way more enjoyable for Yvonne and I. And the gym is doing better in our members. But like you said, you make the individual connection.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you've spent, a lot of people will say, as many years as you've been doing CrossFit, by now you should be either burned out or broken. But if we're Jamie and
I've got the broken box checked.
But Jamie and I were the first thing. I came in this morning. We came in early to kind of talk about the podcast, what we're going to talk about. And the first thing he brought up was the gymnastic progression that you posted on Instagram. I think it was earlier this year.
The gymnasty Annie.
The press to handstand.
But I watched those progressions on Instagram, and I was blown away. And I thought, man, have you gotten better as an athlete over these almost 20 years?
There's some things that for sure I have gotten better at. And that's why I love this sport, right? It's like, you're just never there. Even, the Tia Claire Toomey's and the Matt Fraser's is, I would like to think that they feel like that. Like there is no ceiling. If you're doing something and you're doing it well, you could probably do it better, or you could probably up the skill factor of it. And that is probably a huge part of why CrossFit is for anyone, but it's not for everyone, because you have to be humble enough to know that even as the very best, you're never going to know it all, be able to do it all. You're never going to have this thing mastered completely. And so it's been fun to learn a new skill like the press to handstand, to, even just mess around with how I do my ring muscle ups, or just different things like that. Then there's like the strength side, just, I had a knee issue. I had knee surgery. even just as, being 47, being older, being a female, I can see my strength declining. And it was never huge to begin with. So that's a hard pill to swallow. And I just emotionally battle with that kind of every day. But again, that's probably why I love this, is because I'm never comfortable. I'm never satisfied. I'm never comfortable.
Always hungry.
Yeah. And that is interesting. There's moments when I have, it was this weekend we did the Legends competition workouts.
Qualifiers.
Yeah. And I connected my handstand push-ups like I haven't connected them in like probably 5 years. And it was, for me, it was like, aha, okay, there it is. I got it. Oh my God. And then I get pissed. I'm 60 and I'm just now getting this.
You're 60, Craig?
Yeah, I'm 60.
No way.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank
But
you.
again, I mean, how amazing is that?
Yeah.
At 60, you're having a breakthrough on handstand push-ups. We're the bulk of society is like, at 60, you're doing good if you're taking a 30-minute walk a day.
Right.
Yeah.
It's quite the contrast.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a Legends class there at your gym?
Yeah. So what we have right now, we have an older population in general. Like I just had about 19
Let me interrupt that thought right there. Is it an older population because it started with you younger and stayed with you?
I think that's part of it. Yeah. So
Okay.
we definitely have a lot of people that started at the original gym. So people that have been CrossFitting, since maybe they were in their 40s and now we're in their late 50s. So for sure, that's part of it. But then I think the other thing that's nice about that is that then when older clients come in to see if they want to do it, they see other older clients and they're not intimidated. It's not like everybody in here is 25 years old. So if somebody walks in at 55, they're like, this is not my gym. This is, these are not my people. So we just had a class of 19 people, and my mom was in it, who's 73 years old, and my partner's son was in it, who's 23 years old. And we all did the same workout, but we really we ran the gamut as far as the ages go within that class. But then we have a kid, Connor, I call him a kid, he's 30, who teaches, it's kind of based off a lot of the ATG stuff. So it's kind of more strength mobility combined. And that tends to be probably 60 plus, that population only. But it's a great class. They're actually getting a lot of mobility with some strength training. But it's not, I wouldn't even call that a Legends class, because every once in a while, one of our 30-year-olds will drop into that class.
Right.
So it's not like designated, like you got to be this age and older to be part of it.
Right. Nope.
That's
Nope.
awesome.
We like to think that all of our trainers, coaches are savvy enough, they're educated enough that they could have, 10 different levels in a class and give each one of them an appropriate stimulus, alternative modification, whatever it needs to be, so that everybody can do essentially the same workout together.
Scale by degree, not by kind.
Ooh, yep. Yes, sir. There it is.
That's what has somewhat happened with us, is that in the certain age groups kind of bond together by class time.
Yep.
And it's probably because it's, first of all, it's
Availability
availability to come in. And then it becomes predominantly that age, which then draws in more people.
Mm-hmm. Their friends and their peers that see them and like, what are you doing? How come you look so good?
Yeah,
moving so well.
I'm thinking, if I'm giving advice to a new affiliate owner, is don't stress about trying to have a Legends class.
Yeah, specific.
Right.
Yep.
Do what Annie said, and in other words, make sure your coaches are really good at scaling, and then also making these individuals feel very welcome and comfortable, because then more will come.
Yep. And that's, I'll have clients, one of my mom's friends who's starting to come to the 9 a.m. class, because the 9 a.m. used to be a little bit more of like the quote unquote fire breathers, right? And, she was coming to class and she was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I was like, don't be sorry. This is my job. I love to come up with options and I'm not just gonna say sit-ups every time, right? Like if we're running 400 meters and she can't run, I'm not gonna say, do 20 sit-ups. that makes me crazy when people do that. But, and it's one of
Yes.
my favorite things is to think, okay, this is the stimulus we're trying to achieve with the athlete. How can I come up with something that's going to mimic that or be similar to that for this client who can't do it because of whatever it is? And I mean, honestly, that's like one of my favorite parts of my job.
Agreed. Same. It's having a member or client having that aha moment, like, oh, I can still train even though I have this knee issue that I've been dealing with. While you deal with that, let's do something else. Like,
right. And they don't feel like they're doing some lame, watered down version of the workout. They feel like they're doing very much what everybody else is doing. They're after the same stimulus or whatever it is.
And they're finishing in and around the same time.
Exactly.
It's funny though that you say like how people will feel like it's almost a burden, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't want to show up because it's just more. But like you said, we get joy out of that, like having an opportunity to show somebody how they can still participate in something and be successful at it, and then they can come back and do it correctly or as it was prescribed another time. Like,
Right.
you have to be
Right.
to
Yep. Yep. That's one of the best
That
parts.
actually that's a lesson I'm going to take from this too, because it's when we'll occasionally people fill out cancellation forms when they want to cancel or pause their membership, right? So they fill it out, and the one that drives me crazy the most is, I've got a knee injury, or I'm getting surgery on my elbow, or it's some other type of injury, need to take a break. And it drives me crazy because I know I have a full team of competent coaches that can work around that are eager.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to guilt these members now. Because what you said, exactly what you said, it's true.
It is.
I love it if I come up with a really cool solution and I see their light bulb go on at them. It makes me feel good as coach. Like, I just solved that.
Right.
And then you're creating a better, a stronger rapport, better relationship with that person. And they're going to continue to keep coming.
Yeah, because they don't want to. To make them not feel like the burden.
Ultimately, they don't want to stop coming, and sometimes it's like, maybe, hey, your doctor said don't use it, so they anticipate okay, well, my doctor told me I can't do this anymore. It's like, well, your doctor said maybe don't do that, but here's something
we could do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Totally. And let's face it, like, really, fitness comes down to the consistency with which you do it, right? I mean, you could have the most amazing
anything else.
Yep. So you could have the most amazing training program, but if you're not consistent with it, it's not effective. And vice versa. You might not have the most brilliantly, beautifully programmed fitness program, but if you're consistent, you will see results. And that comes down to your clients trusting you and knowing that you're invested in their fitness. And then, like you're saying, Jamie, then they want to come back every day. They want to come see what Jamie's going to come up with for this workout or for that substitution. And that's it. I mean, it really just comes down to how many times can you get them in the gym, because that's when they're going to see results.
Yeah.
If they come in and we have that happen, you come in. Remember Chris McCurry, he comes in, he rides the bike.
Yeah.
Right. So he had
he's a perfect example.
Surgery. He had knee replacement, partial knee replacement. Come in and just rides bike. And of course, as he's riding the bike, he sees it and he sees everybody working out. And then he's like, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to go do some bench press too. And then, unfortunately, Chris McCurry is also the athlete where we go like, bro, you literally have one of those heart stents in that's draining down your arm and into a bag on your leg. Do not
Don't go push a sled.
Right. Could you not get your goop all over the bench?
Exactly. One of the things you said touched upon a point I wanted to ask you about. You talked about the consistency coming in on a regular basis. When you were training to compete for the CrossFit Games, were you thinking about the season as an athlete, or were you simply thinking, I just need to tune up my daily training that I normally do? Did you approach it as an athlete would approach it? And really get into the minutia of training, nutrition, recovery, and all of that? Or did you just continue to do CrossFit, but just a little bit harder?
I would say it was probably more along the lines of I continued to do CrossFit, but just a little bit harder. I use Jason Leiden for my programming, and he's the best. And I think, like, for me, Jason, we just have a fantastic relationship. I feel like he, as a father, as an affiliate owner, really understood what my time constraints were and what my external stressors were besides CrossFit, besides training. And so he's been my coach since 2016, and we mesh really well. So I just really trusted in whatever he was giving me, and which was really just kind of, maybe a little bit extra than what my normal training was. To be honest, I do really like to compete. I don't think of myself as uber competitive. I do like to compete. More than anything, I love to train. I just love training. And so it was almost more like I did the games because I love training versus I trained because I wanted to do the games, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. A lot.
You love the process.
Yeah.
I love the process. I love it.
You're the one that does the games and then is still doing CrossFit and doing class.
Yeah.
And I'm in that, and it may be because when we all started, but I'm in that kind of same place as well. And it's not a criticism of the athletes to just really focus on being an athlete, but it is interesting. But the one thing I want to take away from what you said, and I hope other people, when they watch this, if they watch this, will take away. There are a lot of popular coaching programs out there, and up and coming athletes tend to gravitate towards the ones that do the best on Instagram or maybe have the biggest name athletes. And we know who those programs are. One thing that Annie said is that Jason understood her family, her situation, her living. And I think about Yvonne and you, and you're close to Yvonne. You know what she does. You know what she has in her daily life. And then I think about Jeff Adler, and his coach, Carolyn Lambre. And Carolyn Lambre is, his fiance, but she's there in his affiliate. She can see him visually. She knows what his lives are. She knows what his weaknesses are. There are a lot to athletes. And if you're thinking about competing, there are a lot of really, really good coaches throughout the CrossFit community. Mm-hmm. Don't feel compelled to lean into the one with the best name or names. Find the one that aligns with you and your lifestyle, that understands you, your weaknesses.
That's kind of how Medeiros found Adam.
Well, that's right.
Right? They had to write out a whole letter to him and, explain why he was doing this. And they made a connection that way versus, hey, let me subscribe to this training program.
Right.
And again, I think that's your program is only as effective as you trust your coach and your program. So again, you could have the most brilliant program, but if you don't trust it and you're not completely bought in, how effective is it going to be? Whereas if you're completely bought into whatever you're doing and you're giving it your all, it might not be the most, sexy programmed template or whatever, but it's highly effective because you are completely bought into it.
Yep. That's really cool. That's a great lesson as well.
Yeah. And, especially as masters, this, your wife knows this, there is zero money and there's almost, there is very little fame, very little money in being a master's athlete. Yeah. So you better be doing it because you love it.
Passion.
Because unless you're Ron Ortiz, you are not going to get rich and famous off of being a master's athlete.
He is a beautiful man, though.
He is. But and he has a capacity that is not normal for a master's athlete.
Yeah.
Right.
People need to understand that too. Like the stuff that he was able to do with Rich and with all of those guys for years when he was in his early 50s, that's the anomaly by far. Like that is a genetic freak of a man. That is not the norm.
Yes, clean and jerk at age 50, clean and jerk north of 300.
Right.
Snatch at 275 to 300. It's
impressive.
Right, and be doing similar volume to Froning.
Yeah.
Not be completely broken. I mean, he is for sure the exception, not the norm.
Absolutely. Thank God I was a couple of years older than him in 2013.
Right?
Yes.
When you aged up?
Yeah, because I aged up and he was
still down below.
The year I had my success is he won the CrossFit Games at age 48 in the 45 to 49-year-old age group.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Freddie Camacho used to talk about that a lot as well. I got distracted here because I had a question all lined up for you in my head. That's the problem. That's a problem with getting older and doing this.
Okay.
You know what I want to tell you? The reason why the reason that started this whole idea of having you on the podcast, I wanted to talk about, because it's relative to affiliate owners. I was shocked about your having to move your gym.
Yeah.
And the stuff like that scares
you. Had to move the gym.
So as affiliate owner, stuff like that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing, because I lease. I don't own the building.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of these people who live in Texas and Nebraska and Midwest.
Right.
Stacey Tovar has the whole building, built the whole building for her gym.
Have you been to that gym?
No, not yet, but I saw pictures.
Enormous.
God.
I mean, us
You
Californians
shouldn't
are like, our first thought is like, oh my God, what is that per month?
Yes.
Like we're paying 10 grand for 4,000 a month almost.
Oh yeah.
Without your utilities. I mean, it's crazy in California.
It's total gym envy. But anyway, back to you.
Yeah.
You guys had to move.
Yes.
And you had to shut down and before you, like, for a period of time and then move.
Yep. So
what happened?
So we moved into that space 15 years ago. We literally went from the original CrossFit gym on Research Park Drive. We were walking one day, Jimmy and Rob and Eva and Michelle and I, we found this space literally 200 meters from the original gym. Oh, wow. And we opened that in 2008. And we were there for 15 years, and we started with just about 2,000 square feet. We overtook the other side of the garage. So we had like just under 4,000 square feet. And then with it came a couple of offices, which as a CrossFit gym, you don't need it. Well, we subleased it to some of our clients. So we had a massage studio, the girl that did like facials, and esthetician, a hair salon, and this other guy that just rented for an office. It was amazing. And so, our co-tenants aren't complaining about us because they're all our clients. On the other side of the building was a plumbing business. And to his credit, he is a small owned business. He started his own plumbing business, and he grew and he got more and more successful, and he needed more and more space. And so he solicited our landlord to buy the space, and he kept nagging him, and the landlord kept saying no. And then he finally caved. Unfortunately, he never really gave us the option to counter the offer to buy the building.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I don't know that we could have or would have done it, but it was basically he sold the building to this plumbing company who needed the space that we were in. And so that was a total so they had to honor our lease, which was up in April of this year. And then they actually let us just go month to month for May. And then beginning of June, they said, sorry, we just really need this space too bad. And so we had to move. We knew about this in about November of last year. So we started looking, and we were looking all over. We were trying to stay within like the 2-mile radius of where we were.
Sure.
Then we expanded to Scotts Valley, to like all over Santa Cruz. And we looked for 9 months. And I cannot tell you how many buildings I looked at, owners I talked to, places I was like, this is it. This is going to be the spot. And just to no avail. Either it was too expensive, they didn't have the parking, just numerous reasons we couldn't move in. So luckily, right towards the end, we knew we were out. We had no idea where we were going to go. And luckily, we found a space. It is a little bit further than our current space, so we're going to end up losing some people. But it was a lease that we could sign, and we were really happy. Unfortunately, that space is it's currently being rented till like the beginning of September. We had to be out July 1st. And, once it's ready in September, then they still have to go in and section it off. And it has 10-foot drop ceilings. So they're going to have to lift the ceilings, lift all the HVAC, the lighting, yada, yada. So we probably won't be in until November. So literally there was probably like 3 weeks left of where we were in the original space. We had no idea what we were going to do. We had no idea where we were going to keep our equipment, and we were just like backs up against the wall. One of our clients said, hey, I'm a member of this Seventh-day Adventist church. They have this huge piece of property just up the road. There's a warehouse on the property, and I can put you in touch with the guy to see if you guys could rent the warehouse for a little bit. So we were like, okay, sure. Unfortunately, they have a conference up here on this property. I mean, it's a huge piece of property. They have a conference for the first 3 weeks of July. This is how big the property is. In those 3 weeks, 10,000 people are on this piece of property with RVs, tents. Like, that is how big this property
Wow.
is. 10,000
for the games.
I mean, it actually gives kind of ranch-esque vibes. It's really
That's
cool.
awesome.
It's kind of up Old San Jose Road, so there's just trees all around us. There's like hills that we can go run out the back door. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll be here for until the other space is ready, and then we can move in that other space.
So
Yeehaw.
So is it so just for anybody that's that's kind of newer to CrossFit, affiliate owners, one of the things we do is we accumulate shit.
The equipment that gets used once or twice a year.
It gets parked somewhere, it gets hidden, and it gets put away, and then you just never want to see it. Like it's like you see it, you're like, oh, I got to do something with that. I got to do it, and you just don't. We have this loft area, and and Yvonne and I are just dreading the day. We're gonna she goes, we're just gonna get a junk trailer and just throw it in there and drive it away.
Yep.
And so it's really hard. And then you got your member base that you got to worry about, because if you move locations, people have routines around their gym. It's part of their lifestyle. So then you're thinking, oh no, now I'm going to disrupt that. And then you got to, as an affiliate owner, now you got all the normal stuff you have to deal with. Now you got to deal with leases. You got to deal with insurance. You got to deal with address changes, just all
zoning issues.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, there was definitely a few minutes where I was like, maybe we're done. Maybe I just go somebody else's gym. It just
have the energy and enthusiasm to do it.
Huh?
You almost like you want to pass it on so someone else can. Yeah.
Like, it's been 15 good years, and you know what? Maybe I just go train for somebody else's gym, and then I would look around our gym because we were still open, and you see the connections that people have with each other. And that's what we would lose, because not everybody would go to the same gym.
Yep.
And the connections that people have with each other and that we have with them is the most fulfilling thing for me of what I do as a coach. Mm-hmm. And my partner, Kelly, and I were like, nope, there's no way. Like, we'll lay down, we'll scrap, we'll do whatever we got to do to make this work. And like, now that we finally have the lease signed, this was the biggest blessing I could have ever received.
Wow.
We had been in that space for 15 years. There was a lot of stuff that we were doing there that I took from the original gym, because I managed the original gym for years. So like, some of the ways that we were doing things hadn't really been updated for probably 15 years. And then, like you said too, Craig, like, we owned pieces of equipment that we hadn't gotten rid of in 15 years. So this is the best opportunity for us to just hit the reset button, to keep what's good and get rid of what's not working. And
it's one of those things where you didn't know what you didn't know.
Exactly. That's so well put. And then
as soon as you make the move, and you're like, oh, and you grow up, and you got it. Like, we fail at the margins of our experience.
Yeah.
100%.
Like, again, CrossFit, like, it's, and so as soon as you start doing it, you're like, oh, we're going to be better.
I mean, you learn from adversity, and this is,
that's the other thing.
Perfect example.
Right. Of adversity, right? Adversity. It's the cold plunge.
Yeah.
you do it, 5 days of doing it, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Right. You don't get better when you're comfortable. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been the biggest blessing for us. Again, I think we're going to lose some clients.
Sure.
And that does, that breaks my heart. On the other hand, we stand the chance to gain some clients, to just change up how we're doing things. And I'm really excited about that.
For affiliate owners that have been at it a while, our legacy is not our brand or even the facilities or the equipment. It's the relationships that develop. I got so much, and then part of it is that now as I'm getting older, I'm getting more emotional, and I cry more in movies and stuff.
Hazy eyes.
But I was looking at Instagram this last weekend, and we had
Joe and
Monica got married.
Yeah.
And then Laura and Nick got married.
Yep.
And then the week before was Cynthia and
Jackson.
and Jackson. And what's interesting about it is all these members that are getting married is all the Diablo people that are at the weddings. And
Right.
they're part of the reception, everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
oh my God, this is all, and they're tagging Diablo CrossFit in the pictures. That's our legacy.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly. And it doesn't matter what four walls you're in.
no.
It's that connection of people that you take with you no matter where you go. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the idea of moving and the act of moving is what made that a reality for me. You know,
That's
it's
cool.
yes, that gym was special and the space was special, but everything that was really built in that gym comes with us when we move.
Yeah, it does.
That's
It does.
awesome.
Yeah.
And it is the part of me though is like I'm kind of a little bit jealous too because like getting rid of some of that stuff.
Oh, okay. Wait. When
So-
you were saying that, when you were saying the equipment,
Weight off your shoulders.
one of the things that we still hung on to. Do you remember? I think it was what was the one that TJ ran? NorCal
Class. No, NorCal Masters. That's right.
NorCal Masters, and I think it was Jeremy that came up with. Do you remember those wheelbarrow things?
Yes, we still have one.
The
We
wheelbarrows.
still have those. We were like moving our mats with those wheelbarrows.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
God.
We were like sleds and wheelbarrows.
Yep, all in one.
Yeah,
Sleds.
and I always think of you
And a
guys,
weight holder.
it was called like the Diablo something. Or
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
The Diablo Sled or something.
I think it was
what
the
it was.
Diablo Sled.
Yeah, it was the Diablo. El Diablo. We called it
El
El
Diablo.
That's right. That's right.
We still have those.
That's amazing. Do we still have some?
Yeah, we have a single
We have
one.
one. Okay, good.
And that was, and here you go, affiliate owners. Another lesson you can take from the veterans: don't chase shiny objects. Leave the equipment manufacturing
to the professional.
to the professionals. If you start to think like, hey, I wonder if we should do this, just DM Annie, DM me, DM Jamie Lee. We'll tell you. DM CJ Martin.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they'll
Was
all.
that Jeremy that came up with those?
Yes,
Yeah.
great, brilliant engineering mind. It was great, but it was very expensive.
It was expensive, but it was expensive on space.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
It's
That's
a space.
exactly it.
Yeah.
And I mean, really crafty and fun, but how often do you use it?
Yeah. You just don't.
We did actually use them a lot when we had a lot of sled, but that was before we couldn't run in the parking lot.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. We used to sled outside until
Yeah.
our landlords caught onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so great.
I know.
And yeah.
Question though, is that going with you to the new space?
Yeah, I mean that's how we're moving our mats. If nothing else.
And by the way, again, for people that are listening, if you could, like, the one most horrible thing that every time I do it, I say I'm 6 years old. I'm not doing this again.
Fucking mats.
Is moving those damn stall mats.
Having to cut them or reshape
Just they
them,
tear up your hands, like
eat up your shins.
They're the worst. They're the most awkward, heavy mats ever.
That's
They're-
right.
and so when we moved into this temporary space right now, we had stored them all in a friend's trailer. And he pulled them up here, and it was just me and this one other guy.
Oh my
doing
God.
all the mats. I was so worked that night, like filthy, and just, it felt like I had deadlifted 5,000 pounds.
And your grip is completely gone.
Grip hurt for like 3 days.
Oh yeah.
Horrid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those are awful. And that is, I know we sound like we're bitching as affiliate owners,
If you mess around with those mats, you'll know exactly what we're talking
exactly.
Uh-huh.
And you can't, like, I'm so OCD, like I can't have any little gap that's got to be cut perfectly.
about.
Oh yeah.
Around all the pull-up structures.
And in 20 years of affiliate steel installments, no one has come up with a better way to cut those damn things. I think they still debate it
I
online.
don't think there is a good
No,
way.
there's not. It's just
Well, and like for us,
The X-Acto knife.
I don't, probably for you guys, they expand and contract with the
yes,
heat,
that's right.
It's
Yes,
the
with the-
worst.
Oh yeah. It
There's
is.
a bubble in the floor, and then 2 days later, there's a big gap. You know, I mean, they're horrific, but you have to have them.
Or if the
Wouldn't happen any
concrete's
other way.
sneaking out from underneath it.
It's so true though. There is. It's like the bubbled one day, and then there's a gap of 2 days.
Yeah,
later.
just a river running through the mat.
Oh my God. We could go like for hours, Annie, telling stories
Oh,
like
yeah.
this. And it is part of the whole process of being an affiliate owner, but there is great joy.
Yeah.
Back to the point about the relationships, I tell people this often. You know, Devon and I were sat at a wedding last year, and she started doing the math. I'm like, you know how many of our members like met and got married? And Jamie's heard this before. I think I've talked about it on this podcast before.
One of them.
And including Jamie and Christy Lee, but we've had 17 couples meet and get married.
Wow.
In our history, and about 7 or 8 of them have had kids.
Yep. And
I always say, look, if nothing else, and I'm dead and I'm standing in front of God, and he said, well, what did you do? I'm like, I did that.
It brought them together.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so incredible. That really is a huge claim.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, and it's one of the legacies. That's why we have it literally gets you fired up to come in to keep this going. Like, you can't let that
exactly.
die.
Exactly. Like, how many other workout regimens could say that, you know? And again, I think that's why CrossFit is so effective, is because of the community aspect of it. It's the community, you know, I can't tell you how many of our members at 6 a.m. would probably just hit the snooze if they were going to Gold's Gym. But they want to see Barbara and find out what's going on with her dog, or, you know, whatever it is. It's the people that bring them back in. I mean, yes, is CrossFit the most effective training program? 100%.
Yes.
I think a lot of that is also because of the consistency of its members, and it's the community that really supports that consistency.
You go to and what's cool about that is you go to, like, I go to the games, and I've been to the games a lot of times. You go as a commentator, and you might not go otherwise, but you go and you still get the chills when you go in. I did. Like, I still get excited, but then I'm walking around all weekend and I'm talking to people just casually, randomly everywhere. Like, just, you know, people in the RVs, people there. I'm like, everybody's just like, there's a connection you have.
It's just like talking to somebody in an affiliate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, instantly you bond and you talk, and you get, and there's really, and you don't even have to talk about CrossFit, but all of a sudden you're having a really kind of meaningful conversation with people, random people. And there's something special about that. That again, that's why I love it. One of the many reasons why I love the Magic of CrossFit piece that she did. There's something, it's about suffering together, the getting better together, focusing on positive things in life together, that makes it really cool. It goes beyond the affiliate.
Well, you know, when everything was kind of going down in 2020, and, you know, people were pulling out, and we were contemplating, like, okay, are we going to stay an affiliate, or are we going to pull out? And
so did we.
Yep. It was really hard, because obviously not being a CrossFit affiliate does not change what happens within the 4 walls of your gym on a daily basis. Like, you're still Craig, your coaches are still who they are. You're still giving them great workouts, call it whatever you want. It doesn't change. But what I was really mourning was that global connection that you have when you're a CrossFit gym, and there's people from Asia, or, you know, Europe, or all these other, there is this unwritten global connection with people. And then, like you're saying, when you're at the games or in the airport and you see somebody that has a CrossFit shirt, you're like, that's my people right there.
Yeah.
And the thought of that was really devastating. I mean, that's probably the only reason we didn't just immediately pull out.
I don't know if you remember, but you were one of the people I called during that.
Yes.
And just kind of had a heart-to-heart conversation about everything that was happening. And when I was trying to gauge where you stood on it all. And that was a very influential conversation. I'll never forget it, but it was one of the things that helped keep me in the game.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
And that's, again, but that's the cool thing about the CrossFit community and affiliate owners. And I'm seeing really cool now as I'm seeing affiliate owners more and more come together. That's one of the cool things that CrossFit is doing and Donna's doing, is bringing affiliate owners together more and more and more.
Yep.
And that helps, because you build those relationships, then you're not alone.
Yeah.
Yep. And you realize, like, other affiliates have the same issues, troubles, you know, whatever it is that you do. And this is how they've dealt with it. This is how they've mitigated it. And it's super helpful.
I think that's one of the reasons why they did have many affiliates drop off during that period of time, is because from probably 2000, I want to say 14 to 2020, we kind of lost touch with each other.
Yeah.
We were all on our own islands trying to focus on running our businesses, and we weren't getting together and doing those things.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. And it's hard because there were so many popping up. You really have to focus on yourself and making sure you were the one, so there wasn't the impetus to kind of bond together a little bit more as gyms. And now I think there's an inherent quality control. There are just gyms that aren't going to make it. And then you realize too, at least for us in Santa Cruz, where there's umpteen CrossFit gyms, that really just comes down to there's a different gym for everybody, and it may come down to programming, it may come down to community, it may come down to whatever it is, music choice, whatever, but there really is a gym for everybody. And we're not going to change who we are to try to suit everybody. We are who we are. Somebody's going to like our gym. Somebody's not into us. They're going to go to a different one. And that we just have to stay true to ourselves and how we want to run things, and know that we're going to appeal to some and not others. And that is what it is.
I love that. That was a very freeing moment for me internally as a business owner, is when, if I had a member leave here and then, they're going and they're training over at Sweatshop, and that used to bother me. Now it's like, yes, they stayed with CrossFit.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Like,
didn't lose somebody from the overall
right. Yeah.
goal.
We didn't lose them to something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You just cannot make everybody happy.
No.
And that's okay. I think that the more important thing is to just stay true to who you are, what the vibe or whatever it is of your gym, what the culture is of your gym. And just know that some people are going to be drawn to it and others aren't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's 100%.
Yeah.
Well, Annie, we've kept you for an hour, and
I love it. I could talk about it all day.
We can trade stories, and I would love to have you back on.
Anytime. I love this.
Yeah, this is great. And I want to wait until after you're in your new place, because it'd be cool to talk about that process too.
That would be super fun. Yeah.
Okay.
And you said you're moving to the new spot in
September.
They're out in September.
Okay. Then they got to do the build out and everything.
Yep. They probably won't move. We probably won't move in until maybe November-ish is what I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't think it'll take us too long once what they're doing is done. But until then, we have a great spot. It's super funky. But it's kind of old. It's kind of the reminder that you don't need a ton of bells and whistles.
Yeah.
You don't need a huge rig or this, that. You just need some barbells, somewhere to run, a couple rowers, and the community will come.
And some bodies to do some work.
Yep. Exactly. Some mops to mop up the sweat, and you're good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, it's been great going through this whole process together with you and watching your success within the CrossFit world. We enjoy you as a commentator a great deal.
Thank you.
Your energy and enthusiasm and passion for it just shows on your face every time you talk about it. So we're grateful for that. I'm pleased to be able to call you a comrade in what we do here. So thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the years that, we've been friends and owned affiliates together, done grid.
We didn't even get to grid. That's a whole.
We'll save that for the next conversation.
Gina keeps saying we got to do a whole grid episode. I can't wait for it.
That would be pretty funny, right? With Benny and Sam.
Oh my God. Yeah.
If people
that was fun.
It was a lot
great
of fun.
Friendships that developed from that.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally.
Right on. Well, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, you guys. Really good to see you.
All right. Have an awesome day.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.